What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to teach you why you should never ever post a picture of one of your keys online or on social media, because I'm going to show you how easy it is to copy a key and make a working one with nothing but a picture. Let's get into it. So right here I have a padlock and the key that works with it. This is the key that came with it. The way this padlock works is extremely standard, and so the method I'm going to show you will work on most keys that you will run into in your day-to-day life. So the first thing we're going to do is need to take a picture of this key. So let's do that now. The more straight down I can look at it, the better. But it doesn't have to be a great picture, and it doesn't have to be perfectly straight on, which is why you should never just leave your keys lying around your house if somebody is going to be walking around your house that you don't trust. So I'm going to do this, take a picture, and that's it. So in order to make a copy of your key, you're going to need to know what type of key you're using. If you have a picture of it, you can figure out pretty easily what type of key it is. Door locks in the United States are very standardized. Probably over 90% of door locks will either use a quickset key or a Schlog key. This lock uses an M1 key. And I went to my local hardware store and bought a couple of these. They're less than $1 each. And this key doesn't have any of the bitting in the keyway. So it'll fit in the lock because it's the right type of key, but it won't unlock it because it hasn't been cut yet. So you're gonna have to go buy one of these. Like I said, they're extremely cheap. And then you're gonna have to get a scale on it. So right now I have the real key, but let's pretend all I had was the picture. What I would want to do is get a scale for how big this key is. So in order to measure this key, we want to measure it right here from the flat part to the very end of the key. And it looks like this key is right at about 19 millimeters, so that's what we're going to use. So now what we're going to do is put this picture on the computer, and I'm going to show you how we copy it. The program I'm going to use for this next step is called Inkscape. You could also use Adobe Illustrator or any other program where you can set the scale of a picture. I use Inkscape because it's free. Check out the link in the description if you want to download it. Once you have your picture imported, scale it down to approximately the correct size. Make sure to hold the Control key when you do this to keep the aspect ratio correct. Otherwise, you may stretch the picture incorrectly and you'll end up with a misshapen key, which won't work at all for this project. I'm then going to go up here to the toolbar and set the units to millimeters, because that is what I measured the key with. Then I'm going to use this tool on the left, which is called the Bezier tool, to draw these 3 lines. If you hold the Control key while you're drawing these lines, you can make sure that they are perfectly vertical and perfectly horizontal, which is important. Using the measurement I took of the blank key, I'm going to scale the width of this shape so that it matches. In this case, that's 19 millimeters. The height of the shape doesn't really matter. The vertical lines are just to help with alignment. I'm also going to change the color of these lines. In Inkscape, a line is considered a stroke. In order to change the color of a stroke, you just go down here, choose which color you want, and hold down Shift when you press it. Then I'm going to carefully resize and rotate the picture until the key lines up perfectly with my scaled lines. To rotate your picture in Inkscape, you have to hit the picture twice. Hitting it once will allow you to resize it, and then hitting it again will allow you to rotate it. When you're lining up the key, make sure to use the same surfaces that you measured previously. In this case, that's from the flat section to the end of the key. And that's it. After that, just make sure your paper size is set correctly and hit print. So, once your picture has printed, all you're going to need for this step, besides your picture that you just printed out, is your key blank, a pair of scissors, and then a file. This file is a little bit big. It'd probably be easier if you have a slightly smaller file, but this is what I have, and this is good enough. So that's what we're going to use. So the first step is to cut out your key as precisely as possible. So this is what the key looks like up close. As you can see, I was as careful as possible when I cut it out to get all of the little tiny features. Pause right here for a sec. This is Jordan from the future. And if you look really carefully at this key cutout, you'll notice that there are two main valleys, or low spots in this. And if you look carefully, they're both flat at the bottom. Because the file I was using was a little bit big for this key size, I didn't really make sure this section of the key was flat at first. My key was pointed in this section, and as you'll see, I had to file it a little extra at the end after trying it in the lock to get it to work correctly. So here's the cutout and the key blank. As you can see, the handle of the blank key I bought is a little bit different than the original key, but that's okay. All we care about is the part that goes into the lock. So I'm going to line this up as best I can, making sure that the flat part and the tip line up. And then I'm just going to glue it on. I'm going to use a glue stick in this case, but most glues will work. Just make sure that you can get the glue and the paper off when you're done. And there we go, perfectly aligned. Now you can put this in a vise or clamp it to something, and then use your file to cut the key in the same shape as the picture. And now for the moment of truth. I'll just pull this off, rub the residual glue off, and then we can try it out. And this is the part where I didn't file the flat sections well enough. So I put the paper back on it, hit it with the file a few more times, and in no time, we had a working key. If you look at the real key here, you can see where those flat sections are. Now if you compare that with the key I made, you can see my sections still aren't perfectly flat. I just went a little bit deeper and it ended up being fine. So as you can see, the key doesn't have to be perfect, but get it as close as you can from the picture and with the file you have, and bring the file with you when you try it for the first time, just in case you have to knock it down a little bit farther. If you're going to practice with this method, I recommend buying a few key blanks since they're so easy to use to practice with. As you can see, I've made a couple of these and I still had to file it down slightly more after trying it to make it work correctly. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos. Until next time, don't be boring.